All right, so get ready because we are going deep today,
Yeah.
deep into the concept of life force.
Right.
And I have to say, you've given me quite the stack of YouTube videos to get through,
Oh, yeah.
lectures, Q&As, all about this.
A lot from Dr. Aya.
Yeah, Dr. MVR Aya, a lot of stuff from him, but also other experts as well. So
There's a good mix in there, I think.
yeah, it's a real buffet. And I think
Yeah.
what we're going to try to do today is break down the mysteries of life force as described in these sources.
Okay.
You know what it is, how it works, and how it might apply to you.
Sounds good.
So one of the first things that really jumped out at me
Okay.
was this idea of life force being like a single entity, almost like space itself, that it permeates the entire universe.
Right. It's one unified force.
Yeah.
And that's a really powerful image that Dr. Aya uses.
It is.
Using space, which is one unified thing,
Right.
to think about life force
Yeah.
being as similar.
Yeah. And it makes sense on a certain level, but it also brings up this question.
Okay.
If it is this unified force, how does it become individualized?
Yeah. How do we
Yeah.
each have our own life force?
Right, right.
So that's where Dr. Aya brings up this idea of the genetic center.
Okay.
And he describes it as a spinning system, a hub for your individual life force.
Okay, so it's not like a physical structure.
Right. It's not an organ or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah.
More like a blueprint
Okay.
that influences our different bodies.
So like the physical, the astral, the causal bodies.
Exactly.
Okay, but what's in this blueprint?
So what's really interesting here is Dr. Aya talks about these imprints
Okay.
that the genetic center carries.
Mm-hmm.
And these imprints are almost like energetic memories from time immemorial
Ooh.
that contribute to your characteristics and tendencies.
So you're telling me that there's like ancient energies,
Yeah.
maybe even past lives,
Uh-huh.
influencing this genetic center? Is that where the concept of karma comes in?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Dr. Aya talks about how these imprints are influenced by all our past actions
Right.
and experiences,
Yeah.
and not just this life,
Okay.
potentially across many lifetimes.
So that's what gives us all a unique energetic signature.
Exactly.
Wow.
Okay.
So we've got this universal life force
Right.
and then our own karmic history
Mm-hmm.
that are both shaping our life force.
Yeah.
This genetic center sounds super important,
It is.
but can it change?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It can strengthen or weaken.
So how do we strengthen it?
Well, that brings us to another interesting thing that comes up
Okay.
in these videos, which is sexual vital fluid,
Okay.
or SVF.
I gotta say,
Yeah.
when I saw that in the notes, I was like, whoa.
I know.
Okay, where are we going with it?
I know it's a term that
It raises some eyebrows.
it can,
Okay.
but it is essential
Okay.
to understanding how life force works in our bodies.
So we're not just talking about this in relation to reproduction.
Right, and that's an important thing to clarify.
Right.
It goes beyond just the reproductive function.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what does SVF actually do?
So Dr. Aya really emphasizes that it's essential for growth and development,
Okay.
especially before puberty.
Okay, but how does it connect to the genetic center?
Okay.
You know, this life force that goes beyond the physical.
Right, so think of it this way. It's about keeping that life force strong.
Yeah, nurturing our energetic well-being.
Exactly.
Interesting. Okay.
So now,
Yeah.
moving on to another part of Dr. Aya's teachings.
Okay.
Let's talk about how life force and the genetics center interact.
Okay, yeah, I'm curious about this.
They really have a back and forth.
Okay.
You know, they influence each other in really profound ways.
Okay.
So that genetic center, with all of its imprints,
Right.
shapes how life force expresses itself.
Right.
It influences our tendencies and predispositions.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then, what I thought was really fascinating was this idea that the zones of the genetic center
Uh-huh.
correspond to the causal body
Causal body.
and brainwave frequencies.
Remind me, what's the causal body again?
So the causal body is often seen as this blueprint of your soul
Right.
that carries the karmic imprints from your past lives.
Okay.
And Dr. Aya is suggesting that that layer
Right.
is influenced by our brainwave activity.
So is he saying that whether we're in beta or alpha or theta or delta, that actually influences which karmic imprints are activated?
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and these activated imprints then shape our behavior and our experiences.
So beta when we're really active thinking, focused, alpha when we're relaxed and creative.
Exactly.
So it's almost like whatever brainwave pattern we're in is acting like a filter,
it is like a filter.
determining which parts of our life force are being expressed.
Yeah, it's determining which aspects of that potential are coming through.
Okay, so then could we understand our brainwave patterns
Yeah.
to see what our karmic tendencies and predispositions are?
It's a question that Dr. Aya's teachings bring up.
That's a fascinating idea.
Yeah.
If we could identify those recurring patterns,
Yeah.
maybe even work with them to create positive change.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really cool.
And you mentioned earlier
Yeah.
that plasma was a bit of a confusing concept.
Yeah, I'll be honest.
Do you want to dive into that a bit more?
Yeah, when I first saw that, I immediately thought of Star Wars. Like,
Yeah.
is this the Force?
Yeah.
Is life force our own personal force?
Well, let's start with plasma from a scientific perspective.
Okay.
So it's defined as the fourth state of matter, distinct from solids, liquids, and gases.
Okay.
And so basically, when you add enough energy to a gas,
Okay.
the atoms start losing electrons, creating this mix of ions and free electrons.
So it's like supercharged matter.
Right. Yep.
Okay, so it's not the Force,
Maybe not exactly.
but it is pretty powerful.
It is.
So what's so special about plasma?
Well, this mix
Yeah.
gives it some really incredible properties,
Okay.
like the ability to conduct electricity,
Okay.
generate magnetic fields.
Right.
And Dr. Aya suggests that SVF,
Okay.
especially in its purest form,
Pure form.
might exhibit similar properties.
Wait, purest form, so there's different kinds of SVF.
So there's this process of refinement
Okay.
that he describes where SVF transforms as it moves through the body. And eventually it reaches a state where it's basically pure energy.
Almost like plasma.
Right.
So it starts out as a physical substance.
Right.
And it's refined into something like plasma.
Exactly.
Wow, that's pretty wild.
It is. And Dr. Aya suggests that in this final,
Yeah.
highly refined state,
Okay.
it has a really profound impact on the genetic center
Huh.
and the flow of life force.
So we're talking about a fluid in our bodies that could hold the key to like unlocking our full potential.
That's the essence of it.
Okay.
He's challenging us to rethink how we understand the human body and what it's capable of.
I am definitely hooked.
Yeah.
I need to go back and watch these videos again.
That's the beauty of these deep dives, you know?
Yeah.
They really spark a lot of curiosity.
Yeah, and they open up all these new avenues.
Totally.
Well, speaking of exploration, we touched on the Panchakoshas earlier, the 5 sheaths from yogic philosophy. I'm curious about how life force interacts with all these different layers of our being.
That's a great segue to what we're going to be talking about next.
Okay.
So these koshas represent this whole spectrum of consciousness,
Okay.
from the physical body to the bliss body.
Okay.
And each one is influenced by the flow and the quality of life force.
So just like our physical body needs food and exercise, our energetic system needs certain practices to thrive.
Exactly.
Okay.
So there are specific practices
Uh-huh.
that are designed to harmonize and energize these koshas.
Like yoga and pranayama and meditation.
Right, all of those.
Yeah.
And as life force is able to flow more freely and abundantly through these koshas,
Yeah.
we experience all these benefits.
It's like we're tending to an inner garden.
It is.
Nurturing that flow
It is.
to create this really thriving, energetic ecosystem.
It is.
So how does this relate back to SVF and plasma?
So some spiritual traditions suggest that practices like celibacy or transmutation can be used to refine and redirect that SVF.
So are we saying that we can consciously influence the transformation of SVF
That's what some of these traditions propose.
into this plasma-like state?
Yes.
Oh,
And this is where it gets really interesting.
okay.
Because they suggest that as you refine your life force,
Right.
you gain access to higher states of consciousness
Okay.
and maybe even unlock latent abilities.
Like the cities that we were reading about.
Yes, exactly.
Is that something that everyone can do?
Well, Dr. Aya suggests that human potential is far greater than what we typically experience.
Okay.
And that by understanding and nurturing life force, we might be able to unlock
Yeah.
a whole new level of human possibility.
This is all pretty mind-blowing. I think we need a minute to process this.
Yeah, I think we do.
I mean, this idea that we have these, like, untapped abilities within us.
It's a pretty amazing concept.
Right, and it makes you wonder, like, what are we truly capable of?
Looks like
Those people are walking around,
using just a fraction
right,
of their true power.
yeah. And that gets to the heart of these deep dives, I think.
Right.
Exploring that vastness
Yeah,
of human potential and questioning those limitations.
exactly. And if we are all connected by this life force,
Yeah,
does that mean that we're also influencing each other's energy?
absolutely.
Okay.
Think about the people you feel naturally drawn to, or conversely, those who just drain your energy.
Oh, yeah.
There's always that energetic exchange happening,
Right.
whether or not we're conscious of it.
So if we cultivate a strong life force, does that mean we're contributing to like a more positive world?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's a question that a lot of these wisdom traditions really emphasize. They highlight that inner transformation is so important for outward change.
So it's not just about me.
Right.
It's about everyone.
It's about the collective.
Okay.
Because we're all interconnected.
So back to the Panchakoshas for a second.
How can understanding these different layers of our being help us actually cultivate a stronger life force?
So each of these koshas represents a different aspect of our being.
Okay.
We have the physical body, the energy body, the mental body, the wisdom body, and the bliss body.
Okay.
And life force flows through all of them, influencing how vibrant they are.
So it's not just about having a strong physical body.
Right.
It's about having all of these layers balanced and in harmony.
Exactly. And different practices can be used to really nourish each one.
So yoga and pranayama for the physical and energy body.
Right.
Meditation for the mental and wisdom bodies. It's like a holistic approach.
It is. It really is.
To well-being.
Yeah.
And when all these layers are in harmony.
Yeah, then that life force can flow freely.
And we experience all those benefits.
All of them.
The vitality and the clarity and the connection.
Exactly.
This reminds me of something else we were talking about. This idea of refinement. Especially with SVF.
Right.
Is there a connection there?
So as we do these practices that harmonize the koshas, we're also creating the right environment for SVF to be refined.
Okay, so it's not just that yoga and meditation are good for us on their own. They actually are helping the SVF become more potent.
More refined.
More like plasma.
Exactly.
Which brings us back to this connection between SVF and plasma. I know I was really hooked on that Star Wars analogy. And we've said, okay, plasma is a scientific concept, but there are some interesting parallels there.
There are.
What are those?
So one of the key things about plasma is that it can conduct energy and information.
Okay.
And that's kind of like how the force is often depicted. A bridge between the physical and the subtle realms.
So are we saying that this refined SVF could boost our intuition?
Maybe.
Or help us interact with energy in ways that we don't even fully understand?
Some of the more esoteric teachings would say yes.
Okay.
It requires an open mind to really explore that.
Yeah. We have to step outside our normal understanding of things.
Definitely.
But that's what's so cool about these deep dives.
It is.
You know, we're challenged to expand our awareness.
Yeah, and embrace new perspective.
Exactly. We may not have all the answers.
No.
But it's really amazing to just think about the possibilities.
Absolutely.
So I keep thinking about the practical applications of this.
Yeah.
It's one thing to talk about life force and genetic centers and plasma, but how do we actually bring this into our lives?
Right. That's the key question.
How do we integrate it into our everyday experience?
It's not just about accumulating knowledge.
Right.
It's about embodying it.
Embodying it, okay.
Yeah. And experiencing those effects.
So where do we even start?
Well, it starts with self-awareness.
Okay.
Paying attention to your energy levels, your emotions, your thoughts.
Okay.
Notice what depletes you.
Okay.
And what energizes you.
So it's like we're scientists of our own energy.
Exactly.
You know, observing what works.
And there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Okay.
So experiment.
Experiment, okay.
See what resonates with you.
We saw a lot of different techniques.
Yeah.
Breath work, meditation, dietary practices. Is there anything that you found?
Personally, I found a regular meditation practice to be incredibly helpful.
Okay.
It helps me cultivate that inner stillness and that awareness.
Okay.
So I can really observe my energy.
Okay.
And make conscious choices.
Yeah, I've tried meditation. I've always struggled with consistency.
Well, one of the most important things is to find a style that you resonate with. There are so many out there.
Right.
So don't be afraid to experiment.
Right.
And find what feels natural and enjoyable.
I think I always get caught up in like, there's a right way to meditate.
There's not.
Okay, good to know.
Another key is to start small.
Okay.
5 or 10 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Can make a big difference.
Okay.
It's about consistency.
Consistency.
That's like brushing your teeth.
I can do that.
Yeah.
Okay, I am feeling inspired
Good.
to give this another shot.
I'm glad to hear that.
Especially knowing that it could enhance my life force.
Yes.
And, you know, tap into that potential.
Exactly. Remember, this is a journey of exploration and discovery.
Right.
No need to pressure yourself.
Right.
Just be curious and open.
Okay. This has been so insightful.
It's been great.
I feel like we've just scratched the surface.
We have.
But I'm really excited to learn more about all this.
And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
This is a lifelong journey of learning and growth.
So we've been talking about all these different practices and techniques for cultivating life force. I've been thinking about the connection to creativity.
Okay.
Do you think there's a link?
I think there's definitely a link.
Okay.
When our life force is really flowing, we tend to feel more energized, inspired, connected to our intuition.
Right.
And those are all things that can fuel creative expression.
So it's like we have this wellspring of energy and inspiration.
Yeah.
But how do we actually access it?
Well, there are so many different practices that can help. Some people find that being in nature, listening to music, or even moving their bodies, like dancing, can really spark their creativity. Others find that journaling, painting, playing music helps them tap into that creative flow.
So it's about finding what works for you.
Exactly.
But what about when we feel stuck, creatively blocked?
One of the most effective things you can do is shift your focus. Sometimes when we're too fixated on a certain outcome or approach, we actually stifle that creative flow.
So instead of forcing it, maybe step away.
Take a break.
Do something else.
Exactly.
Give ourselves time to rest and recharge.
And sometimes the block is actually an invitation to try something new.
Right.
Step outside your comfort zone.
Experiment.
Exactly.
It's easy to get discouraged. But maybe those blocks are actually opportunities.
They are.
To grow and expand.
Exactly. And remember, the creative process isn't always linear.
Right.
There are twists and turns.
It's a journey.
It is.
Well, speaking of journeys,
Yeah.
We have covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
We started with life force as this universal energy. Talked about SVF, the Panchakoshas.
Right.
It's been quite a ride.
It has. It's been a really enriching conversation.
It has. And I have to say, I'm walking away with such a sense of wonder.
That's what it's all about.
You know,
sparking that curiosity.
About what's possible.
Inspiring us to keep learning and growing.
For all of you listening out there,
yes,
we encourage you to keep exploring this.
Definitely.
Dive deeper into the source material. Experiment with the different practices.
Yes.
Most importantly, trust your own intuition.
Your inner wisdom.
It's a journey of self-discovery.
It is.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Into the world of life force.
Until next time.
We'll see you next time for another mind-expanding exploration.